It's already the second video of this new format, and I'm already kicking myself on trying to be perfect at it. LOL. So guess what I'm talking about today? Perfection and other things. I think that one of my biggest weaknesses is that I'm a perfectionist. I know, it feels like a job interview where I'm trying to convince you that you should hire me. But really, being a perfectionist has been so detrimental to my personal growth, but also in some ways beneficial. But maybe that's just me trying to cope. I think there's a lot of pressure that a lot of us feel, I'm sure you included, to be perfect. Whether that's in your relationships, in your work, in your craft, in anything that you do, that you have to be perfect. Otherwise, you're not good enough. I think this year is the year that I get a little bit better. See how I said not to actually fix the whole thing, but I said a little bit better because I'm getting a little bit better with trying to be not a perfectionist. Anyways, so that was all. That was all I wanted to talk about, but there is, I don't know. I was like, should I write something? And I figured what's better than perfection is progress, because progress is much more attainable. There is something that I want to read to you all and maybe talk a little bit about it, because it's a book that has been on my mind. It's called The Will to Change by Bell Hooks. This book is about it's about men, masculinity, and love. I actually ended up reading the female version of this, which I can't find, but it's called Communion, The Woman's Guide to Love, or something like that. And I read it because my friend gave me the book, or let me borrow it while I was at her place, and it's very, very eye-opening. I remember a conversation I had with you where I asked you, hey, is it hard to be a girl? And then you were like, oh yeah, it actually is super hard to be a girl. And it's because we live in a man's world. We live in a patriarchy. And there's a lot of things that are fucked up with the patriarchy. And that's pretty much it. And so as I read the book, it gave me a lot of insight on the experience that women go through, and a lot of insight on how I act towards women. Sometimes in a ways that I don't even realize that it's perpetuating this negative environment for people to live in, both men and female. And so because I enjoyed the book so much, I ended up buying the other book, this one specifically for men, called The Will to Change, that discusses masculinity and the patriarchy and love. So maybe I'll find love at the end of this journey. We'll see. The quote that I wanted to read goes like this. Again and again, Hooks writes, men would tell me about early childhood feelings of emotional exuberance, of unprecedented joy, of feeling connected to life and other people. Then a rupture happened. A disconnect, and that feeling of being loved, of being embraced, was gone. Somehow the test of manhood, men told me, was the willingness to accept this loss, to not speak it even in private grief. She calls this the primal moment of heartbreak and heartache, the moment that they were compelled to give up their right to feel, to love, in order to take their place as patriarchal men. When I read that, I swear to God, I was like, whoa, that's actually legit. Like, I was like, whoa, they're writing. And I guess I wanted to talk about that a little bit. I think that there is some sense of fear, maybe it's just me, to talk about men's struggles on the internet. But I also think that that's because we live in a patriarchy, and the folks who are ridiculing men for talking about their feelings, talking about the challenges that you feel about being a guy, is leaning towards the patriarchy, is like propelling that societal structure. Right? Because if we think about it, like in a feminist world, everyone is treated equally, regardless of gender. And what that means is that, like, if you are giving women a chance to talk about their feelings, then you should also give men a chance to talk about their feelings. And part of the feelings that we get as men is this heavy expectation to be perfect. And I don't think that it's like, even if we don't want to say that that's what it is, I feel like that's what it is. There's a lot of expectations of like, hey, you gotta be this, and this, all for the service of a girlfriend. If I'm being real, that's kind of like growing up, that was like the thing. It was like, hey, do this, and this, because you're gonna look like an attractive person to your partner. No, not even to a partner, it's just to a girlfriend, right? And then you could start your family. If you don't do that, then you're gonna die alone. Not saying that me being a perfectionist or me trying to get a girlfriend is the reason why I'm a perfectionist, but I'm just saying that there's a lot of like these structures where it's like, oh, there's ways that I can't act. There's ways that I can't act because it's manly, or it's not manly. And I think I'm like tired of that. I am tired of that. And yeah, I guess I just wanted to talk about that because when it comes to my life, while there isn't one particular moment where I'm able to think about like when that rapture happened for me, right? When I took my place, quote unquote, as a patriarchal man, like when I gave up my right to feel, to love in order to take their place, I think that there were moments growing up where I was like, oh, this is like my feelings were dismissed, or it was like, hey, man up. Just like it was I was taught to push things down. And I think a lot of guys do, because I know a lot of my guy friends who really don't know how to talk about their emotions, and I'm not any different, by the way. I'm also someone who has trouble talking about their emotions, but I think something that I'm working on, because I know that it's a bigger problem, is feeling my emotions, right? I'm always solution oriented. I think something that I hear from a lot of my girlfriends is, yeah, like they weren't listening to me. They just wanted to give me a solution. As a guy, that's kind of the whole thing. That's kind of the whole reason that you are there, because you're expected to be the one that has the solutions. And even if it's your own problem, it's like, it's not how do you feel, it's like, what are you going to do about it? It's like, well, let yourself feel for a second, think about what you want to do next, and then act. But I think we skip over that part because we're always the one that needs to solve things. And I'm not saying it's bad to be someone who takes leadership, but I also think that it's important to just like sit with your emotions and say like, hey, this is how I feel. This thing just happened to me. I can't just go. I have to just be still. And I think we don't give ourselves enough credit for that, or enough room and space to just be, right? Because there's always, at least for me, I feel like I always have to be solution oriented. I always feel like I have to, when I fall down, I have to get up immediately, or else it says something negatively about my character, about my manhood, But those things, sorry, I burped. I don't know if you heard that. I burped again. But those things are things that I'm trying to actively fight. And it's hard. But I'm trying. And so, yeah. In this video, as I was trying to decide what I wanted to record, I was like, I don't freaking know. It's hard. And like, because this is something that I want to do full time, right? Even though like we're starting a YouTube channel about men's well-being and men, like thoughtful men advice. I was like, oh man, it needs to be good. Otherwise I'm going to look like a schmuck. I'm going to look like a little loser. But then I was like, you know what? Also, I think that the audience that I do want to attract through Fantastic, are the people who are thoughtful and also just want to chill too. It's hard to want to make videos when everything around you is freaking Mr. Beast. Mr. Beast has someone locked up every 2 seconds, guys. Are we cool with that? I don't freaking know. But anyway, that's kind of where I'm at, you know, in terms of what I wanted to talk about today, is that like there are so many reasons to not keep going in your pursuit of a better life, in pursuit of a better you. And one of those things, one of the strongest things, is the fear that you won't be perfect or that you won't get it 100%. And so if that's you, just know that I also feel that way.
7:30.
Okay, I don't know if you guys heard that. And if that's you, just know that, you know, I've also felt that way, and that it's another way that your mind tells you to stop because they're scared. They're fearful for what might happen if you don't succeed. But also look at it another way, in a way that like you love yourself. What happens if you do succeed? I think you owe it to yourself to try. Try your best. I'll see you on Thursday.